There are those that give for their country. And then there are the heroes, those who sacrifice everything only to stand up again. A man of resilience, the strength to overcome, fighting Israel's battles and his own. Dr. Asael Lubotzky grew up in Efrat, Israel. After studying at the Hester Yeshiva, he chose to enlist in Golani's 51st Battalion, where he underwent the grueling training course of a combat soldier. Soon after, he became an officer, commanding a platoon of the Golani Brigade. In the summer of 2006, Lubotzky's platoon was sent to Lebanon to fight. On the battlefield, he held his best friend Amichai's dead body. His deputy commander, Major Roy Klein, launched his body onto a live grenade to muffle it with his body. 2 weeks into battle, Lubotzky entered a missile ambush. Having stood just seconds before, half his body was exposed. Dozens of pieces of shrapnel sliced through his lower body. His right leg slid off the stretcher. In my heart, I had already accepted that my leg was lost. Lubotzky was rushed to the hospital, entering a new battle, the fight for his life. There he underwent over a dozen surgeries. He learned how to walk again, how to stand up. It was from his hospital bed that he decided he would give back. He would use his experiences to heal others. Please welcome to the stage, Dr. Asael Lubotzky.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited and delighted to participate tonight in this special evening. 12 years ago, I served in the Golani Brigade as a platoon commander. After fighting in Gaza, because Gilad Shalit was captured there, after a few weeks of fighting in the south in Gaza, we were called to fight in the north in Lebanon, in the Second Lebanon War. We led our troops there fighting in the warfare of the southern Lebanon near Bin Jbel. In one of the major battles there, in the center of Bin Jbel, we lost 8 of our comrades. As you heard just now, my commander, deputy commander of our battalion, Major Roy Klein, decided to save the lives of his soldiers, of our lives, and jumped on the grenade, actually muffling all the explosion by his body and saving all the crew there. We came in and tried to evacuate all the wounded soldiers from there, and of course also the dead bodies. I spoke with my men just before this mission about the holiness of giving the last chance to bury our friends in a Jewish cemetery here in Israel. After this hard battle, we had to continue to fight in southern Lebanon. We continued to fight there for a few more weeks. And just 2 weeks later, in Tu B'Av, 15th of Av, almost 12 years ago, we entered again the area of Bin Jbel. We came in a line of 8 armored vehicles, tanks, armored corps. We came in. I was third in line. After about 2 miles in Lebanon, I heard in the radio that the officer who leads the row wasn't sure about the right way to enter Bin Jbel. We tried to help him. I opened my cabin. I took my upper part of my body out of the cabin. This way I could see very well the whole area, but of course, I didn't have any armor to cover me. I was exposed. After 2 or 3 seconds, a anti-tank missile, advanced anti-tank missile was launched against us. This anti-tank missile hit my armored vehicle, penetrated the armor, and I felt something who felt to me like a huge explosion, something burning me from the bottom part to my upper part. I didn't have time to think. I tried to call in the radio, but no one could hear me. I yelled and yelled in the radio, but to no avail. The radio was turned off because of the explosion. I looked down. My vision was sorrow. I had many burns on my face, but I could see that my right leg is upside down, my left leg is torn down. I was sure I lost my right leg, maybe also my left. The other guys from my team rushed up. They evacuated me out of this burning vehicle, put me on a stretcher, and ran from there downhill in order to evacuate me from Lebanon to the Israeli border. The helicopter who came there couldn't land in Lebanon, so I was rushed to the border. I got there first medical treatment, and then they put me in the helicopter with two of my men who were also injured from this missile. The other officers and men from my company continued to fight there against the Hezbollah terrorists. I won't forget when the helicopter took off, I knew that I'm starting now a new battle, a new war. Not a war that you fire back and evacuate soldiers, not a war that you fight against enemies, but a different war, the war of rehabilitation. A battle who started almost 12 years ago and in many ways continues on a daily basis. The war and battle to come back to life, to stand and walk again, and to go back to life. I spent more than a year in the hospitals. I had to overcome about 15 major surgeries in order to gain some function to both of my lower legs. But already then, on those days in the hospital, I took a decision to stand up, to come back to life. I got really, really warm Jews who came from all over the world to assist us and to help us. People also from Chabad and all the country really, really gave us the power to overcome those missions to come back to life. And while being there in the... Thank you, Chabad. And while being there in the hospital, I took two decisions. The first one, I said I will try everything I can to bring myself not to stay in a bad mood and all the time think about what I lost, but on the other hand, to have a smile on my face, to look on life in the bright side of life, and on the end of the road, to get married and have a family. I succeeded 8 years ago. Eight years ago, I got married to my beloved wife, Avital. We have now 4 kids, amazing kids. We really felt every time Avital gave birth that this is the real triumph. This is a real way to get over what we had. If people and enemies try to take my soul out of the world, our victory is not only that I'm alive, but also giving new lives, giving new souls, bringing them here to the country. That was amazing. My second child was born exactly 6 years after my injury, in the same date, 15 of Av, Tu B'Av. We called him Naveh Amichai. Naveh is one of the names of the Temple of Jerusalem. I know you're on your way to Jerusalem, so we really feel this is the center of the world. Amichai, Am Yisrael Chai, after my beloved friend Amichai Merchavia, who was killed in battle in Bin Jbel. This is really maybe our victory to say that we remember our friends who fell in the battles. We won't forget them. But our victory is to continue to give more lives and to do more good things in our nation. The second thing I decided in those days is instead of learning physics, I felt that I want to join the amazing field of medicine. And I started to study medicine, college, and then pre-med and med school. Nowadays, I work as a physician in Jerusalem, in Shaare Zedek Medical Center. And what I try and pray every day is that my own experience as an injured soldier, as the one who suffered and is suffering from pain and surgeries, when I treat my patients, I try to do it as much as I can with empathy, and when they say that they have struggles and things to overcome and pain, I think I know a little bit what they're talking about, and from this place I come and try to treat them in a professional and emphatic way. That's my will and that's my prayer every day in my work. But I think that the story of our nation, the story of the soldiers who fight here, is a lot bigger than the personal story of each one of us. I feel it's something that maybe combines and connects the whole Jewish nation. As we can see right here, that you came from all over the United States, hundreds of people, warm Jews who really like the state and like the IDF. And I think it also combines the Jewish history. And towards the end of my talk, I want to tell you a short story in a parenthesis that maybe will combine those stories together. My grandfather, Asael Lubotzky, was born in Vilnius, nowadays in Lithuania, in 1922, almost 90 years ago. He grew up there, but after the Germans, the Nazis, conquered the area, he was put in the Vilnius ghetto and became an underground fighter against the Nazis. Later on, he went out of the ghetto with the Abba Kobner's group by the pipes from the ghetto Vilnius to the forest and became a partisan fighter against the Germans. 1943, the middle of the Second World War, in one of the battles, my grandfather was injured by a bullet from a German soldier. The partisans took him back to the camp. He was severely wounded. In the medical care that they could treat him, there was almost no chance that he will survive. However, in this camp was one Jewish nurse from Vilnius who knew my grandfather and tried to do everything she can to treat him. She treated him with leaves. She didn't have bandages, and she even managed to take from the Germans one of the first antibiotics, Prontozyl, to try to treat him. And even though my grandfather was in a severe condition, he managed to overcome his injury and even came back to war in Vilnius later on. He made an aliyah to Israel in 1945, and they both had families. That's almost 7 years ago. After I was injured in Lebanon, I was in the beginning in the Rambam Hospital at the north, and later on in the Shiba Medical Center, Tel HaShomer, the center of Israel, in the rehab center there, rehabilitation center. One of the days, my grandfather came with my grandmother, and they met me in my room. We sat there, my family, some of the doctors, including the head of the department, Dr. Zivner, were sitting there. My grandfather started to tell the story that I knew very well as a child, about how he was injured back then in 1943 in Lithuania. I knew the whole story, except one detail that my grandfather revealed at that day. After he told us how he was injured and how this nurse saved his life, he looked directly to Dr. Zivner, my physician, and told him, "The nurse who saved my life is your mother, Anka." So Dr. Zivner's mother was the nurse who saved my grandfather's life. I think this is the story of our nation, the story of people who try to do in any means, in any word, what they can to save others' life. And this comes in circles from generation to generation, from Anka, the partisan hero in the Second World War, to Dr. Zimmer, who treats so many wounded soldiers. And I feel that if I can continue this magical circle and now treat new patients, I'm part of this amazing Jewish story, the Jewish nation, who is reestablished here in Israel. Thank you very much.
I'd like to call on Mr. Kevin Burmeister from Sydney, Australia, a dear friend of JLI and multiple Jewish organizations in Australia and in Israel, to present Dr. Lubotzky with the Heroes Award.
Presented to Dr. Asael Lubotzky, we salute your heroism and leadership on behalf of Am Yisrael across the globe, JLI Land and Spirit 2018.
Thank you very much. We now have a very special opportunity to be joined by a group of the Heroes of Israel. This is a group of soldiers who amongst them are many lone soldiers from France, Los Angeles, New York, Texas, Canada, and many, many other places who will be with us here for a few moments. As Dr. Lubotzky said, he named his child Amichai for Am Yisrael Chai. We welcome the soldiers as they join us in a celebration of Am Yisrael Chai. this point, I'd like to call up the Shliach of the Rebbe to the wounded soldiers, Rabbi Menachem Kotner, the director of the Chabad Terror Victims Project. I'd like to call him to the podium and to introduce our next speaker.
Shalom and good evening. I'm very excited to stand here today and share with you my special shlichut in Israel. After the Six-Day War, under the direction of our dear Rebbe, a special organization was started on behalf of the IDF widows and orphans. 15 years ago, during the Second Intifada, I was called by Chabad in Israel to take on this mission of Chabad Terror Victims Project. Today, this organization helps more than 3,000 families of victims of terror in Israel. This book has the details of each family. Each line on this book is another family. And each family is an entire world. We visit at the hospitals the wounded soldiers and victims of terror and give them the love of Chabad and financial and spiritual assistance. We visit the parents whose son was killed in the war, or widows whose husbands was killed in the terror attack. Last week, on Purim, our volunteers, together with the 500 Chabad Shluchim from Israel, visited in the homes of 3,000 families across the country of Israel, from Eilat in the south to Nahariya in the north. In closing, I want to share with you a story of just one visit after the Tzuk Eitan war in Gaza. We arrived at the Mendelovich family in the small city in the north he called Atzmon. Their son, Oz, who was 21, was a Golani fighter. And Oz, unfortunately, is killed in the war in Gaza. We met the mother, Osnat, a single mother with 2 children. She told us that her youngest son, Roy, was going soon to celebrate his bar mitzvah. They already reserved the hall, the catering, and a fancy DJ. But because the great sadness, she canceled the bar mitzvah. I told the mom that I think that his son should not get punished twice. Once, his brother was killed in Gaza. And the second time, he will remember all his life that he did not have a bar mitzvah. I suggest that our organization, Chabad Terror Victims Project, will arrange a bar mitzvah at the Kotel in Jerusalem. In a more modest way, but with a lot of true Jewish joy, and the mother immediately agreed, and 2 weeks after, Rohi had a very beautiful bar mitzvah full of joy and happiness at the Kotel. The day after the bar mitzvah, I get email from the mother, Osnat. And that's what she wrote me at the email. Rabbi Menachem, Shalom. Every morning, when I open my eyes, I immediately get the slap in my face on my new reality. Oz is not here. And each new morning, sadness and pain take over my day, apart from yesterday. I would like to thank Chabad for the wonderful bar mitzvah to my son Rohi. It's been 3 months since the fall of Oz, and it's the first time I went to the bed happy and proud. Proud that I'm part of Am Israel, and happy to see the smile on my Rohi face again. Rabbi Menachem, you created a bit of pink in the black forest in which we live. Yeshar Koach, Osnat Mendelovich. Thank you very much all, and good evening for the listening to me. And thank you, Rabbi Mintz and the whole JLI organization. And I want now to invite my good friend, a hero from the soldiers, from the wounded soldiers. I want to call Yarin Ashkenazi to the stage, please. Before I give the microphone to Yarin, I have a surprise. Yarin told me a few days before that he wants to start to put in tefillin every morning, every day. So I want to give you this new talit and tefillin so you can pray and put tefillin every day. Bevakasha.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yarin Ashkenazi. I'm 23 years old. I'm now in Tel Aviv. Before 4 years ago, I go to the military like the same teenager in Israel. And before 2 years ago and 6 months, I was injured in a terror attacks. The terrorists have attacked me. He's come with a car traveling at 120 kilometers per hour. is emerged me, my colleague Yuval, and our commander. After the attack, I don't remember so much because I have a head injury. I'm shot of 4 bullets and neutralized the terrorist. After all the attack, the helicopter brought me to Hadassah Hospital in Jerusalem, and there I go to perform the emergency surgery and intensive care. 12 hours of operation in my head. 4 hours of operation in my right leg. I have a platinum there. After 1 month in Hadassah, actually, I need to tell you a story. After 2 days in intensive care in Hadassah and Karem, come to the Hadassah and Karem, Menachem Kutner, and Menachem Kutner and Chabad give a new power for my parents, for my mother, for my father, because I went into a coma for a week. And Menachem said, everything okay. We are need to pray. We are need to pray for a miracle. My mother, Menachem Kutner, all Chabad, all the Jewish people in Israel, in all the world, pray for a miracle. And after 1 week, I wake up. After 1 month in the hospital at Hadassah and Karem, I go to rehabilitation hospital in Tel HaShomer, and there I'm learning from the beginning everything. How to talk, how to read, how to cry, how to joke, how to drink and eat, how to do daily basic tasks. And there, after all the rehabilitation, I go to 2 more surgery. 1 surgery is complete my skull. 20% of my skull is cut in the injury. And after 8 months, the doctor, Guy Rosenthal, is complete my skull. And after 1 year, I go to another operation, is in the left leg, is in the same operation like a Kobe Bryant, is a ACL and LCL. And now I'm after 2 years and 6 months after the attack, and now I'm training in MMA, boxing. And I want to thank you to Menachem Kutner and all Chabad Terror Victims Project. Menachem, you can come to the stage, please? I want to give a present for all Chabad, for this angel, for Menachem Kutner from the new hospital in Jerusalem, for terrorist attacks, soldiers. Thank you. My leg is here, is in the country of Israel.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to thank you all. Thank you so much.
Yarin is giving out thank yous
to others, it's at this point I'd like to call on Mrs. Margaret Haueisen, from a dear friend of Chabad of Redondo Beach, which will be joined, please join us up here with Rebbitzin Sarah Mintz of Redondo Beach to present Yarin with a Heroes Award.
We salute you, your heroism and leadership on behalf of Israel across the globe. You're truly our modern-day hero. Thank you for protecting Israel.